Hello.
Hi, good afternoon. Hello, lovely to see you.
Concord College is a very famous college and very difficult to get to. Well, you have very, very high entry requirements, and we love it. And you are different from many schools because I remember that one of the reasons why one of our parents wanted their son study with you, because of you actually had them students working during the A levels, working at the school.
Yes.
Yes, you please tell us about this because that was a key point why they so wanted to place their son to Concord.
So yes, Concord is a super international school. For 85% of the students at Concord College are not from the UK, and they're from all around the world, from 40 different nationalities currently. So that's a very important part of what we are. And yes, we are super academically selective as well. We don't make any apology for that at all. That is what we are. We are a very, very academic place. Now, it's not the case that all of our students are geniuses. We do have some who are, we do, and they're brilliant. But what all of our students have in common is they work really hard and they're very ambitious for their future. So yes, they're going to get great A-level results in the sixth form, great GCSE results for the younger students, and they do because they work hard and we teach them very well to do that. But as they get older, a really important part of their curriculum is preparation for university, and that's extremely important to what we do. And as such, ambitious, capable young people, they want to go to the best universities, and we see it as our role to help them do that. It is, as a place, it is a bit more like a university in style. So we don't have a school uniform, which is unusual in the UK, not unusual in some places around the world. And 60% of our students are the oldest students, they're sixth form students. So that gives our campus a bit more of an air of a university. So that's the feel of the place, is more university than school. But yes, our students do work extremely hard. And they can stay in some of the school holidays and continue to work. So through half-term breaks in October and February, students can stay at Concord. They don't have to go home if they don't want to. They can stay and work. And the older students stay through Easter holiday as well. So the only times that everybody has to go home are Christmas and through the summer.
Good, very good. It's a real life. Usually people don't have vacation longer than 2 weeks. Even then is a rare luxury, I would say. The philosophy of a school probably is behind all the settlement that you're doing for the students. And what do you think? What skills for life one have to survive in any time, in stone age, now age, and in the future when we don't know what's going to happen and if it will be run by the AI presidents or prime ministers? What skills are absolute necessity to have?
Yes, we talk to our students an awful lot about this, and we say, you might not have one career in your life, you might have several, and you're going to have to adapt. So the number one skill, I think, is being adaptable, and it's about being willing to keep learning when change happens, because change is inevitable in the world, but technology changes faster than we can even believe. And the jobs that our students will do, of course, they might not have been invented yet. And our students are going to see huge changes in society, globally, and in technology through their lifetimes. So it really is about being resilient and adaptable and willing to change. And the way you do that is you have to be prepared to continue to learn. So all of our students, we want to cultivate the idea that they're lifelong learners. And they're very, you know, we're selective and they're very good and they start off and they want to learn, but they need to keep that. And they need to keep that through their time at university and then throughout their life, because change is going to happen. And if they can think independently, they can think critically, they're able to solve problems, they're going to be in a really, really strong position to do that. So again, this comes back to our curriculum and having, yes, the academic qualifications are an absolute must and they are a given, but you need these other skills as well. And they're the same skills that are going to get you into a brilliant university or a brilliant job, but they're skills that you're going to use throughout your whole life. So it's about thinking creatively and being adaptable in your thinking.
What is your view, for example, on overusing the technology? Can it be like addiction to the gaming or social media? How does college deal with it normally? Because they're teenagers, it's bound to happen.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. Teenagers are teenagers wherever they're from in the world. That is a possibility. Now, we have a number of ways. We like to embrace technology as much as we possibly can. So we're a Microsoft Showcase school, which means that we have an integrated approach with all of our delivery of online resources and how we share and store files, how we do certain form filling and admin tasks. We use SharePoint to have departmental pages and sites, as well as societies and clubs and activities. So all of that's integrated. So we embrace technology, but that's used alongside more traditional paper and pencil methods in the classroom. So we don't use it to the complete exclusion of traditional methods. So a student in a typical day at Concord, they will be using their tablets or their laptop in some lessons. They'll be using that for their homework that they're doing in the evenings, but they'll have other lessons where they have to write, they have to perhaps do their maths or their English, and it has to be handwritten and presented in a different way. So we have both. Now, in terms of teenagers being addicted to gaming, yeah, of course, that's true absolutely everywhere. We have a program of personal, social and health education that runs through every year group here, and that's delivered by tutors, individual tutors. Now, a tutor has a group of 10 students, and each student sees their tutor every morning. So they're together every day, and the tutor, as part of that morning program, will deliver personal, social and health education. And as part of that, we talk about the dangers of working online, the dangers of social media, the dangers of becoming addicted to gaming. So we're very proactive in delivering that, but there's something else quite important that we do as well. We switch off the Wi-Fi at night.
This is what you've done?
Yeah.
Good idea.
So at midnight,
Yeah.
the Wi-Fi is switched off. It comes on again in the mornings. And the mobile phone signal at Concord, we're very rural, isn't that great? So it is I'm not saying it's impossible for students to access the internet and game online after midnight, but we do make it quite difficult for them to do that. There's a big debate in the UK, public schools, maintained sector schools at the moment, about mobile phones in the classroom. And we think maintained sector schools, they might be banned in schools in the UK quite soon. Now, we're not a maintained school, we're a private school, and we can decide what we do. The situation, I think we've got good balance at the moment. We do allow students to have mobile phones, but they're not really allowed out in the classroom without the permission of the teacher. So if they're doing an activity that requires them to use a phone or a mobile, any other mobile device, that's fine, they can get the permission. But actually, in the classroom, we'd expect that phone was not out and was switched off.
Fantastic. That is very good rules. What college do to keep young people mind on achieving the tangible results in the academic career,
Yes, in some ways we have that quite easy because we're so selective. We know that everybody is focused from day one, but you're absolutely right. There are different ways in which we do that. So the first way is we do regular academic testing. And by regular, I mean every week. So every Saturday morning, there are no lessons at Concord, but every student does academic tests on a Saturday morning, which they have to prepare for through the week. So they're told what's going to be on the test, but they need to prepare. And then they're marked very, very quickly. They're returned to the students, and then there's a conversation between students, their tutor, and then their teachers as to what they need to do better next time, perhaps what they didn't revise this time. And that's continuous throughout their time here. So I don't think we test more than many other schools because we're not testing Monday to Friday. So the lesson time Monday to Friday is the lesson time. So that's protected, but every Saturday there are tests, and that really focuses the mind of the students on what they're doing and how they can improve. So that's one important way that we can keep them focused.
May I ask a question? Is a related question, and I'm sorry to interrupt you. Do you have a kind of a penalties or the reward for scoring high?
Do you know what? Our students are naturally competitive, and getting a good score is reward enough for them.
How about penalty?
Now, their mindset, it's very important that students approach it in the right way because they can get very worried if they have a bad score in a test. And they have to understand here, we talk to them a lot, that it is okay to have a bad test. This is how we learn. So we fail at something and then we learn and we improve. So that is okay, as long as it's part of a reflective, ongoing conversation and ongoing process. Where we would get worried is if a student had 3 or 4 bad scores in a row. And at that point, we would get the teachers together and we would get the tutor and we would talk to the student and say, well, we think you need a bit of extra help in biology or Spanish or physics, or whatever it is. And they can go and organise to see teachers for subject clinics after school, and we can help them and support them in that way. But it's quite important with so much testing that they have the right positive mindset towards the test scores. It has to be okay for them to do badly. So we would never put students in detention for a bad test score, but what we might do is we might give them some extra support and extra access to classes. So it's quite a big part of Concord life.
So is a test happening for every subject they're taking? Yeah.
Yes. Now, but not every week. So a student who's age 14 here might do 12 subjects, whereas a sixth former, an older 17-year-old, might do 4. They're doing 2 or 3 tests each Saturday morning, and then they do the next ones. So there would be a schedule, and it rolls through. So no, they couldn't do every subject every week. That would be brutal.
Like that, yes.
Well, students, when they first hear about the tests, they're a bit unsure about it, and they say, "You've spoilt our Friday night because we're revising for the test." But as they get used to it, they actually enjoy it and they see the value. So we have students who leave to go to university, and they come back and visit, and they say, "We miss Saturday tests. It's the thing they miss."
Yeah, I have the same saying from my oldest student, who is a university student, that they are missing teachers chasing them and testing them.
Right.
And a habit that actually carried them through the first year of university. But then if you're not practicing it, and if you don't have somebody nagging on you and saying you have a test, it's very hard to actually self-motivate and self-discipline yourself.
Exactly
It's
right.
beautiful. It's a fantastic skill to set for life. You're doing a really good job. I want all my students being in your school.
Well, the other way that we do it, so we've talked,
Yeah.
but the tests are very classroom curriculum based things. The other way we do this and inspire students to keep going and keep doing something extra and really strive for, you know, the best that they can be, is through what we call our super curriculum. And these are all the clubs and societies and discussion groups and academic preparation classes that happen. Some are academically focused. For example, we have an international relations society or a maths discussion group or an engineering society. And some of them are much broader. And this includes arts, crafts, music, drama, sport, all sorts of different things that students can get involved in to make them a broader, more interesting person, if you like. Concord students love a competition, and they love an academic competition. So our participation in things like the International Physics Olympiad or the Maths Olympiad is huge. We have literally hundreds of entries into those competitions. And because we have so many and our students are very, very good, we have a few students who are very, very successful. So in the last 12 months, we have a student who's a member of the British team for the International Maths Olympiad. He's actually ranked #1 in the UK for maths, which is unbelievable. We have a student, he's also on the Informatics Olympiad, so programming. So he's always also on that team. And then separately, 3 out of 4 of the British Physics Olympiad team last year came from Concord. So we have a number of students who are doing this as a really big part of what they want to do, which is great. And I've not seen that at any other schools to the same extent.
You pretty much answered the question, what are the characteristics of Concordian material, right? But as a smart, ambitious, and hardworking kid.
It is. I think I can expand a bit more though. I think we have three things. Yeah, three real character traits that underpin our ethos here. And we talk about them all the time, and we talk about them in terms of what we do, but we talk about them in terms of what kind of people we are and the students we want the students to be. So the first one is rigor, which is unsurprising because that's the hard work. But for a student, what that means is not only do you work hard, but you've got that resilience and confidence that comes with practicing and success. And that's very, very important. So that's the rigor. Secondly, we have creativity, which has 2 aspects. And we want them to be creative in terms of practical terms. And that means getting involved in all those different activities and societies and being open to doing that. But it's also creative in thinking. And that's about thinking independently and being a lifelong learner. Again, it's about being open to new ideas. But the third one is the most important trait, and we talk about it constantly here. And if you ask a Concord student what is the most important thing, they will say kindness. And that's been here right from the very foundation of the college. College was founded initially as a language school after the Second World War to bring people from different nations together to learn. and we've still got that in our ethos. So being kind, tolerant, respectful, students are very humble. That is the most important thing. So as a place, it's a really friendly, calm, it's a lovely environment, and everybody shares that, which is great.
From what age would you advise students to start to gain practical work experience? Do you think that work experience is important for the students, especially the one who are going to university?
Great question, because I think it depends on the university course they want to do and the career they want to go for. We start talking to our students about university choices and what they might need to do to get to university, including work experience. We start talking to them really, really early on. So if they're here in our year 9 and 10, we will start talking to them sort of age 14, 15, year 10. For those who join us in the sixth form, we talk to them almost straight away. So it's from the very beginning in the sixth form. And it depends. For something very vocational, like medicine, and we have a lot of students who want to do medicine at Concord. It's our most popular choice, actually. It's absolutely essential to get some kind of relevant work experience. It's harder than it used to be following the pandemic to actually get that practical experience. But we have links with local hospitals, for example, where we can facilitate that sort of thing. If it's business or economics based course or route, and we have lots of students who do that too, I think it is important to have some practical experience, perhaps a little later. Perhaps we wouldn't talk to our students about a practical internship or placement until they're 17 or thereabouts. So it's a bit later for that. For something like mathematics, which is understandably popular here, it's less about the practical work experience and more about the Olympiads, the reading, the understanding the nature of mathematics beyond what you do at school. And I think that's true in lots of subjects and fields as well. So there are things that lend themselves very well to practical experience, but for everything else, you shouldn't just ignore, it's not just about the schoolwork. You've got to have that reading, that extra appreciation of how it's different. I did physics at university, and I know that my physics course at university was absolutely nothing like any of the physics that I'd done in school. It's completely different. So if you have a student who's applying to do that and understands that it will be different, they don't have to know all the stuff, but understands that it's going to be different and requires different skills, that's valuable.
So what Concord College plans for the next 10, 20 years? What are your plans?
Yeah. We are full and we're as big as we have ever been.
Yeah.
So we don't have plans to expand or be twice as big. We're 600 students at the moment, and that's just about where we want to be in terms of size. However, we do have quite an ambitious plan to do some investment in our site, and we're talking about large building projects. So, for example, things like building a replacement second sports hall is something that's coming. That will improve our facilities there. We have a great sports hall and we have a smaller second sports hall, but we want a great second sports hall as well. So we're upgrading there. We're going to invest in boarding infrastructure as well. We're unusual in that everybody has their own room at Concord. There is no sharing. Nice. However, we have a large number of different boarding residences, and it makes sense for us to reinvest in boarding. So there's going to be a brand new boarding house at some stage. and we have longer term plans on the sort of 5 to 10 year timescale to improve our dining hall and dining facilities as well. So all of this was put on hold really through the pandemic, but now we've been able to restart thinking about this. We, as an institution, that's buildings and infrastructure. As an institution, we're very ambitious, and we're very well known in some parts of the world, and perhaps not so well known in other parts of the world. We really do want to be the school that everybody wants to go to, wherever you come from in the world, and we're ambitious to do that over the next 5-10 years.
But please don't drop the demand for the grades and ambition.
Oh, no way. No. No, my board of trustees would never let me do that, and I wouldn't do that anyway. Number one always is the academic outcome. So no, we would never expand at the expense of academic standards.
And so following that, what are the ambition Concord College set for its leavers?
What a great question. But that's a really, I'm really pleased you asked me that. One of my favorite events in the year is graduation. When the leavers, they finish their course, they actually graduate just before they sit exams, because we want them to enjoy it and then not worry about the outcome of the exams. They can concentrate on that separately. And I get to shake hands with every single leaver as they graduate, and they're all dressed up, and it's a fantastic occasion, and they have a ball and a meal, and it's wonderful. But in my mind, when I'm shaking hands, I'm thinking, am I shaking hands here with a future, a world leader, a president? Now, it hasn't happened yet, because we're actually quite a young institution. We've only been around since 1949, but it will happen. It's definitely going to happen. And that's what we want. We genuinely believe we're training people who have the skills and the outlook and the tools to be really genuinely influential in the world. And if we can educate them, we can give them that academic platform, and we do. But if we can educate them to be open-minded, socially aware, inclusive, and the kindness element is so important with what we do. If we can do all of that, you know, it's unlimited, perhaps, what our graduates can do. And that's what we want. We want people who are brilliant, but are genuine all-rounders and able to influence things for the better. And that's a really, really wonderful thing to be able to do, because I get to see these students graduate every year, and it will happen. We'll have a world leader before long. Could be anywhere in the world.
Any success stories so far, or do you have any famous Concordians?
Okay, yes, we do actually. Yes. Again, we don't have hundreds of years of history, so I can't point to, you know, hundreds of years of famous alumni. A huge number of our more recent graduates are extremely successful in both medicine and entrepreneurial businesses. They have their own large businesses. We're known very much for STEM subjects. It's what most students want to do here. That's why medicine, engineering, science, really, really popular here. And that is what most of them do. However, two of our most famous recent graduates are not STEM students at all. So a few years ago, we graduated a girl called Nancy DeJacca. She's an international fashion designer now. So she's a super successful fashion designer. And also, even more recently, we have a young lady called Ophelia Liu, who's an internationally successful makeup artist. So both of those came through our art department, actually, and they both did art A-level here. Art here the standard is extremely high. The numbers doing art are not as high as maths or biology or chemistry. We have, 150 students doing those subjects and maybe 15 doing art in a given year, but the standard is super, super high. So those art students go on, and we've got several successful young architects as well who've been through that department. So yeah, interesting that the probably the two most famous recent alumni of Concord are art students, not science students.
You already told us about fantastic accommodation, which is very rare in England. In fact, single rooms from all students are very, very rare. And it shows that you do respect the privacy that all of us have to have, at least during the night. But are there any other facilities that students could enjoy after school when they are not doing science and arts, when they are having a free time? We've been asked once, we've been asked a very fair question. A mother of a young lady, she asked, where is she going to do her manicure and pedicure?
Okay, right. So there's two ways in which our students can be, exposed to the facilities or opportunities. There's stuff that we have on campus and on site, but there is also the local towns and cities. Now, every Saturday afternoon, after they've done their tests and after lunch, we have buses into the local town. And so there we go. So you can get your manicure and pedicure done in the local town if that's what you want to do. You could also go and watch a film or have a meal or go bowling or whatever else it is with your friends. So then that's every Saturday. But on site, it is a large site and we're very, very well resourced, I have to say. So for example, we have 2 sports halls. We have a fitness centre and weights room on site as well. We have a swimming pool. We have a 270-seat theatre with all the technical lighting and sound equipment in there. We have a multi-track recording studio. We have soundproofed music practice rooms, and music is very popular here, not as a curriculum subject, but individual musicians. We have an awful lot of very talented musicians, so we have facilities for them to practice, including a number of grand pianos around the site. There's actually one downstairs in this building on the way in that students can just play. And they often do when they're not in lessons, obviously. We have a student kitchen, which has all the wonderful cooking and kitchen facilities and is really, really well used. So yes, we've got the dining room and we feed them very, very well. But if they want to cook their own food, if they want to do a dinner party for their friends, if they want to do, we have an international food fair as well, where the different nationalities are cooking national dishes. They can use the student kitchen as well. So there's an awful lot of facilities on site. Oh, high ropes course, climbing wall on site as well. But do you know what? The best thing about the site is the green open space. We have huge fields. We have a arboretum with trees, really mature trees in. We have just out the window behind me there, we have a 13th century castle that sits just on the edge of our site. It is a beautiful outdoor space, and that makes a huge difference to be able to live and study in such a beautiful space. So the outdoors is a real luxury, and I would count that as a really good facility that we have, in addition to all the other great.
Are you going to build the accommodation for parents?
Do you know what? I think there are some schools in the Far East who do that, but no, we're not. Sorry.
Even if they are ambitious and they're ready to work, hardworking. I think the last question, but very important, that traditions of England have to be preserved. You are extremely international school. You have more international students than any other school. It's actually all other schools, they have maximum 10% of international students. You are other way around. How do you make sure that the traditions are respected, the manners, famous English manners, but the personality of different cultures are still preserved?
Yes, so lots of ways. So number one, English is spoken at all times during the school day. Even between lessons and at lunchtime and at meal times, English needs to be spoken. That's one of our rules. In the evenings and the weekends, no, students can relax and they can speak their own language, but English needs to be spoken. Number two, through our assembly program, we talk a lot about what you were saying, the manners. And it's speaking at the right time, actually being able to speak and get your point across well in public without being rude. It's saying hello and greeting people as you pass by in the corridor. It's holding doors. All of those things we actually concentrate on and we talk about quite a lot. So there are constant reminders about that. That's very, very important. We have a bit at the end of our student induction week in September, when all the new students have got to know each other a little bit. We have something called British Day. And British Day is a celebration of traditional British fairground. It's like a fun fair with traditional stalls and rides and ice cream and candy floss, and it's quite eccentrically British, but the students absolutely love it. And we have a Ferris wheel that we bring in, and that is the culmination of their student induction. They're ready to start their actual lessons and their time at Concord once they've done British Day. So we have this one day when we focus on British things, some quite quirky, fun British things. However, because we have 40 nationalities and everybody has their own individual identities, lots of our super curricular societies are national societies. So, for example, there is a Malaysian society, there is an Eastern European society, there is an African society, and so on. And any student from anywhere in the world can join any society. So it's true that all of our students from Singapore, for example, they will be in the Singapore society, but there could be others from around the world who are also in that society too. They organise the food fair when we do the International Food Fair, and they all take part in a huge cultural presentation in the local theatre in the town, which is sort of 600-700 seat theatre. It's a big one, and we call that the Concord Showcase. And each national society presents something from their own culture, and it could be dance, it could be music, it could be a play. It could be a poetry reading, something traditional from their culture, and each national society presents. And we have, 10 or 12 different cultural pieces within this Concord Showcase. And of course, they have national celebrations through the year as well. And the individual societies will organise a dinner, or they'll organise a party or a celebration for those. So yeah, we keep an eye on that Britishness that you talked about, but we very much embrace our internationalism because it's a huge part of what we are.
Do you want to add something that we didn't ask, but it's important for you to deliver?
Just one thing, and that is, Concord, I would say that it's a wonderful place, wouldn't I? I just want to get across its uniqueness, really. There is no other school with the same combination of international, academic, and the kindness thing. And lots of schools will say they have one or two perhaps of those. I don't know of anywhere else that has all three in quite the same way. So we are a bit different, but we're different in a wonderful way. So it is a lovely, lovely place to study and be at school. There is a calmness to Concord that you don't see in other schools. Yeah, everybody works hard and everybody's purposeful, but I wouldn't say that it was a noisy, brash place at all. There's a calm sereneness to it, and that's one of our strengths.
Thank you so much for today.
Thank you.
No, it's been a pleasure. Well, lovely to talk to you. Thank you. See you again. Take care. Bye-bye.